Okay. What's up, Christ? You tune in with the Israelite School, the Universal Practical Knowledge, Isupk. Straight out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, since 1969. So now we're coming live from Philadelphia specifically. Tonight is a brotherhood class. Brotherhood, or love, or sisterhood, or whatever you might commonly call it in the world today, is absolutely vital to the Black community survival. And it's the basis for everything that we teach here in the Isupk. Brotherhood, how we treat one another, how we live around one another, it will fix many of the problems that we are plagued under today in America. And the Isupk is built off of brotherhood, built off of brotherhood, sisterhood, built off of the love and the compassion that we have for one another. And how do we learn how to love one another? Because today in the world, you think love is an emotion. You think love is about how you feel about somebody. But love is about how you treat one another. What do you do for a person? What do you do with a person? How you interact with a person? That is love. And love also isn't, a Christmas gift. Love isn't a Valentine's present. Love isn't an Easter egg basket. but love is treating your brother, your sister, your wife, your brother, your husband, how you should treat them according to the Bible. A husband should protect his wife, lead his family, protect his family. A wife should be a helpmate to her husband. All these things are things in the Bible, and these are things that you do to truly show love to your people. Truly show love to your people, not just throw money in their face, not just do whatever makes them feel good, but do what you were commanded to according to the Bible. Now let me get on 1 second. Let me grab. Let me grab 1 second. Deuteronomy. Yeah, Deuteronomy 13:8. That's right. We're gonna get the book of Deuteronomy 13:8. We're gonna break it down because right now we're coming off of the so-called Easter, a holiday that's prominent in the Black community, a holiday that's prominent all across the world. And here in the Isupk, we know the truth. We know the truth behind all these holidays. We know the truth behind Christmas. We know the truth behind Easter. We know the truth behind all these things that are commonly celebrated today. We know that these things, although we have been told that they have to do with God, have to do with Christ, have nothing to do with God. Everything's well? Even though we are told these things have to do with God, and we understand through the Bible that these things have nothing to do with God. Easter has nothing to do with God. Christmas has nothing to do with God. All these customs are things that Christianity took from paganism. Christianity took to try to blend in the doctrine of the Bible, blend in the teachings of Christ with pagan holidays. Pagan holidays that are ancient, older than Christ. Older than Christ, they try to mix it in with Christ. They try to mix in Christ with the worship of a Christmas tree, which is a pagan custom that goes all the way back to Babylon. They try to mix in Christ with a custom of worshiping fertility and rabbits and eggs in the springtime, which is much older than Christ, which goes all the way back to Babylon. They try to mix in these things to make following Christianity more palatable for the people of that time. The people who used to worship, the trees and the air, and rabbits and eggs and the wind. People that used to celebrate those things, it was harder for them to sit down and worship one God. Right. It was harder for them to worship Christ, or what the Christian church was promoting as Christ. So what did the Christian church do? Well, what did they do back in those days? They mixed those religions with their so-called belief, and that's why today we celebrate Christmas. And that's why we give gifts and put gifts underneath a Christmas tree, and that tree has nothing to do with Christ. Those gifts have nothing to do with Christ. Christ wasn't even born during that time. You celebrate Easter, and around the same time you should be celebrating the Passover. There's no custom in the Bible of gathering eggs and dressing up like a rabbit. There's no custom out of the Bible. That's nothing Christ gave to you. But the Christian church has found a way to mix those things in to give you a more palatable religion, a funner religion, a religion that is easier for you to get down with. Like I said before, here in the ISUPK, that we know that all those things have nothing to do with God, nothing to do with the Bible. So if you're a brother or sister, and you trying to come into the ISUPK, you trying to shed yourself of those holidays, at times it can be very challenging. It can be very challenging because these holidays are tied to family. These holidays are tied to your family, and you have years and years of tradition in your own life, and the generations of your family of people getting together and celebrating these holidays, celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating Christmas. They just got together and they celebrated Easter, and you tie family and love into the worshiping of a false god. And so when you come into the ISUPK, or you come into the truth, and you realize that you can't do these things anymore, sometimes it is very hard to resist your family. Sometimes it's hard to resist that turkey dinner. It's hard to resist that Christmas gift. It's hard to resist that Sunday service on Easter Sunday, because your whole life you have been raised to follow these customs, and these customs are fun. These are the only times that you can have any, for some people, these are the only times that you can have any fun with your family, during Easter Sunday. Only time you can have any fun and peace with your family is on Easter Sunday, is on a Christmas Day, on New Year's Eve. But little did you know that all these customs, all these holidays were the reasons why your families were so destroyed. Were the reason why you didn't know your father. The reason why your family was so broken. The reason why child molesters ran rampant through your family. Because you gave your family, you gave your life over to another God. And because of it, the real God, Yahweh, the Most High, is cursing you as you worship other gods. So once again, we're going to show you how to resist your family. We're going to show you how it's important to not feed into all the things that your family may be doing around you, your friends and family may be doing around you, in order to save your own life. Give me Deuteronomy 13 and 8. So like that.
God. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, and verse 8. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thy eye pity him.
Thou shalt not consent unto him or hearken unto him. You get that phone call from your family, from your mother. Typically, it is your mother or your father, a cousin, or somebody that you favored when you was in the world, and they tell you to come down to the Sunday service. They tell you to come down to eat the turkey at Thanksgiving. They come tell you to come celebrate that birthday. They say come down to the birthday. You tell them you don't celebrate birthdays. What do they tell you? What's the one trick they always try to pull on you? Oh, we ain't gonna call it a birthday then. It's just gonna be a party. It's not a birthday. It's just a party that just so happens to be on the day I was born. Mm-hmm. They try to pull every trick in the book to try to get you to sit down with them and be sinners with them. But what does the scripture say? Read it again.
Come. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him.
Don't consent unto him. What does it mean to give consent? Don't agree. Don't agree to that Easter basket. Don't agree to that Christmas gift. 1 second. Let me give it. You want to talk again?
Come. Deuteronomy chapter 13 and verse 8. Thou shalt not consent unto him.
Read verse 7.
Come. It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 13 and verse 7. Namely of the gods of the people, which are round about you, nigh unto thee.
Verse 6.
Come. Verse 6. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is of thy own soul, entice thee.
If your family, the people that you love the most, people that you grew up with, people that raised you, people that you should be close with, if these people entice you, if these people try to trick you, or try to seduce you into doing certain things. Because that's what's happening. That's what's happening when you try to come out of the truth and you learn about these things, learn about how you should live your life. The people around you, they aren't changing. People around you aren't trying to change their life. They don't want to do anything new. They don't want to stop their drug addiction. They don't want to stop being so dysfunctional. They don't want to learn how to love one another. They don't want to become better people. But you all and everybody around you will begin to try to entice you, try to seduce you into doing the same old thing and to continue destroying you. Read on. Read from the top, verse 6.
If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is as thy own soul, entice thee, secretly saying.
Entice thee, secretly saying. Like I said, I hear it every year. Every year, a new brother coming to school, they say, yeah, this past Christmas, my mom called me, my father called me, or this past week, my cousin called me on his birthday. And what do they say? What do they do?
Entice thee, secretly saying, let us go and serve other gods.
They pick up that phone and say, come on down here on the 25th. We're gonna be giving out gifts on the 25th. Or they say, come down here this November. We're gonna be having a dinner at the crib. Come down to the church for the Sunday service. Come to my house for a party on my birthday. What you gotta understand is that's your family, that's your friends and family trying to come to you and trying to get you to serve another God. They ain't trying to. It's more than them just having fun. In their mind, yes, it's just them having fun. You're a person they like to have fun with, so they give you a phone call. But on a deeper level, that is Satan. That is Satan trying to get you to disobey God and serve another God. Read on. Stuff from where it says, let us go.
Let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known.
Which thou hast not known. These guys are not a part of Israelite culture. They're not a part of what Christ taught. But once again, we have been lied to in the Christian church, and we have been lied to in America about our culture and about this Bible and about the culture that's inside the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible will it tell you to worship a Christmas tree or set up a Christmas tree. Furthermore, the Bible will specifically tell you how evil it is to set up a tree in your house. The Bible will specifically tell you to not worship other gods. But these are not the guys, this is not the culture of Black people, of Hispanic people, Native Indian people. This is not the culture that God gave you, but this is the culture of every other race of people around us, about us. And we have cleaved to the culture, the religion, and the gods of people around us, and we are destroyed because of it. We don't.
Thou know thy fathers.
Thou know their fathers. We don't. These guys are new to us. Once again, that is not a part of Black culture, Christmas or Thanksgiving. It's a part of culture of our culture in this country, in this captivity. But that is not the culture that God gave to us. It's not the culture that God gave our forefathers. We don't.
Sir. Verse 7. Namely of the gods of the people which are round about you.
Round about you. The only reason that you celebrate Christmas is because you live in a white country. You live in a European country. And those people celebrate Christmas. Those people celebrate Christmas. Those people have, for centuries have been setting up trees, worshiping a tree, worshiping the winter solstice, worshiping the elements and the air and the seasons and the spring equinox and all that, tying their gods and tying their worship to the seasons and to nature. That's a big part of so-called European culture is doing that. That's the only reason you celebrate Christmas. Your celebrating Christmas has nothing to do with God, nothing to do with Christ. We don't.
Nigh unto thee or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth.
Once again, this past week, Easter once again has nothing. The only reason that you celebrate Easter is because it is a custom that has been handed down to you by your slave master. You don't know you didn't know anything about Easter. When your forefathers got off their slave ship, when your family got off their slave ship, they didn't know anything about an Easter basket and an Easter bunny. That's something that Christianity taught you, but that's not something that God gave you. and it's something from another race of people. And according to the Bible, all the culture of other races should be rejected by God's chosen people, should be rejected by the Israelites. But we should reject the culture of other nations and take on the culture that God gave us. Read on.
Verse 8. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him.
Thou shalt not consent unto him, meaning to consent. Just like when a cop wants to search your car, and he don't have any reasonable reason to do so. In order for him to search your car legally, you have to give him consent, meaning you have to agree to it. When that family member picks up that phone, when you run into your cousin, when you run into your sister, and they try to get you to worship another God, or to celebrate Christmas, Easter, don't give them consent. Don't agree to it. Read on.
Neither shall thy eye pity him.
Neither shall thy eye pity him. Don't feel sorry for your family members because you ain't show up to their birthday party. Don't let them guilt you into once again disobeying God and destroying yourself. Don't guilt them into getting you to celebrate another God with them, because that's what they always try to do. Your grandmama call you up, your mama. People that you love and you care about try to act like you're evil. You're evil because you want to change your life. You're evil because you learn the truth. You learn the right way to live. You're trying to live it, and they're trying to get you to stop. Don't let them make you feel sorry about truly following God, because your whole life, their whole life, you have been disobeying God, and finally you're doing the right thing. So don't feel sorry for them because you didn't show up to the Christmas party. Don't feel sorry for them because you don't want to get high with them, because you don't want to go to the strip club with them, because you don't want to ruin your life with them, because you are trying to show them and set a right example for them. You are trying to show them the right way to live. Read that verse from the top.
Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him. Neither shall thy eye pity him.
Neither shall thy eye pity him. Once again, do not feel sorry for your family members because you don't show up to their evil functions. Because you don't show up with them. You don't get on their side to go disobey God. If you was a former drug addict, you decided to stop getting high, would you feel sorry for your drug addict friend because as he tried to get you to get high with him? No, you should be against him. You should be against him because he's trying to drag you back down. He's trying to drag you back down and destroy you once again. You need to learn how to resist evil. You need to learn how empowering it is to learn who you are, learn your customs, your culture, and learn how to truly fix your life. Because people in the world on the outside, on the surface, it seems like they have so much fun. So much fun, they get so high, they have so much drink, all the partying, or the utmost partying in the world, all the holidays, all the fun, all the Christmas gifts, all the singing and dancing. But behind all that fun that you see in the world is absolute death and destruction. Behind all that lust and sex and exuberance, behind all that is absolute death and destruction. It's child molestation, rape, and murder. It's depression. It's depression. It's absolute destruction behind all those things. If I could, let me get. We had Deuteronomy 13 and 7. We could. Come on, wow. Once again, we're gonna get into a few things on the topic of brotherhood. But first, we're gonna get into how when you coming into the world, when you coming out of the world, you can't let your family members, your friends and family, get you to turn back. And one of the main ways they try to get you to turn back is these holidays, these so-called holidays. This Easter, this 4th of July is gonna come up in a few months. All these holidays, they try to turn you back with fun and a kind hand. Because these are the people that, like I said before, these are the people that you grew up with. These are the people that you love, you've grown to love over the years, and they try to Satan tries to use them to turn you back, but you have to resist that. Verse 6, verse 7. We'll read 7 from the top.
Oh God, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verse 7. Namely, of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee,
from the one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth.
Read on.
Verse 8, thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him.
Don't consent to him. Don't agree to. Don't agree to disobeying the Most High. Don't agree to worshiping these false holidays. Don't hearken to it. Don't listen to it. Read on.
Neither shall thine eye pity him.
Read on.
Neither shalt thou spare. Neither shalt thou counsel him.
Conceal.
Conceal him.
Neither shalt thou spare. Neither shalt thou conceal him. Meaning, don't compromise your integrity. Don't compromise what you believe in to make your family feel better about themselves. Especially, don't sin in order for your family to feel good about themselves. Because like I said, that's what they'll do. They'll guilt trip you into making you think that you don't love them unless you get high with them. That you don't love them unless you show up to the 4th of July cookout. Unless you show up to their birthday. The birthday is the main one. And they'll try to use that one to act like you hate them because you didn't come to their birthday. You didn't give them a birthday gift. Well, like I was saying in the beginning of the class, that has nothing to do with showing love. That's how Americans show their love. That's how heathens show their love, with vain customs and holidays and birthdays and things like that. But in Israelite culture, that is not how we show our love. You will show your love to your family by showing them that all those customs that they try to get you to join into is destroying you. Is the reason why they're drug addicts. Is the reason why their homes are destroyed. Is the reason why we have no leadership. Because we have given our lives over to other gods. We put away the real God. We put away his customs, and we follow these fake imaginary gods. We follow a Christmas tree and an Easter basket. We follow a whore. We follow weed. We follow these things that have no power about the true and living God. Read on.
Verse 9. But thou shalt surely kill him.
Read on.
Thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people.
This is the true spirit of how you should feel about people that try to get you to disobey the Most High. That secretly come to you, coming to you in the dark, coming to when you're not around your brothers, meaning when you're not around other people who are in the truth. Come and talk to you when you aren't, in your strongest place at the moment, and try to get you to disobey God. Of course, now Christ is giving these people grace. Christ is giving sinners grace. Christ is giving sinners a time period to learn how to obey God. So don't commit any violence against your family. But in old times, before Christ, it was ordered that Israelites would put sinners to death, but people that would promote sin to death, promote the worship of other gods to death. And that if somebody came to you and tried to get you to follow another god, they will be killed. They will be killed, and they will be destroyed. And you should carry that spirit with you. You should carry that spirit with you, that these people that are trying to get you to disobey God, in another world, another place, they will be put to death, because that is how serious this offense is. That's how serious it is to go to a man who is trying to do the right thing, trying to change his life, trying to follow God, trying to follow the one and true God, and this man comes to you and tries to get you to disobey him, tries to take you back, tries to pull you back to the same filth that you came from. You can't do that. You can't go back to where you came from. You can't go back to what you used to do. You gotta continue to excel forward. You gotta continue to excel forward. You can't let these people that you love, your family, your friends, your mother, your father, your cousins, your grandmother, you can't let these people trick you, or not even trick you, but you can't let them entice you or get you to disobey God. Hold on, we might drop this verse. I might be the light on that. That's it on that. Let me get what's that? Galatians 5:13.
Come.
If there's any questions in the room or on the chat, just let me know.
Come.
You can read it when you get it, Claudia.
Come.
Sure.
Sir.
Yes, 5:13.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 13. For, brethren, ye have been called into liberty.
You've been called into liberty. You've been called to liberty. You've been called to freedom. Read on.
Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh.
But don't use your freedom for an occasion to the flesh. Don't use your freedom in the freedom that you have in this world to be a sinner, or to fulfill your lust. Read on.
But by love, serve one another.
Serve one another. Serve one another, meaning in this instance, to serve one another and to promote the work of the Lord to one another. Read that verse again.
Verse 13. For, brethren, ye have been called into liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh. Don't use
your liberty. Don't use your freedom for an occasion of flesh, meaning about an occasion of lust. Read on.
But by love, serve one another.
Don't use the freedom that you have here in this place to be a sinner. And that's what you have in America. You have a certain level of freedom. For a certain level of freedom, you're free to do what you want to do. You're not free to have your own nation. You're not free to have any real power or authority, but you are free to be a sinner if you wanted to. Nobody's going to physically stop you from being a sinner. Many of the things that are sins against in the Bible are completely free and promoted in this country. Even the drugs are becoming something that is more socially acceptable to do. So something that you might not go to jail as long for as you used to. Because this place completely promotes sin, promotes everything that is against the Bible. Don't take these so-called freedoms, but don't take this as an excuse to serve your flesh, to serve your lust, but use it to help your people. So you use it to serve your brother, teach your brother, help your brother to serve Christ, to serve the Most High, and change his or her life. Read on.
Verse 14. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Once again, what is love? Love is not an Easter basket. Love is not an Easter basket. That is not how you love your brother, but you love your brother through these laws, through the understanding of these laws, through the understanding of the culture in this Bible. And what we should do? What we should do as a people? What we should do as a people today is showing love to one another, is teach one another how to follow the Most High. Well, that's at least part of it. Of course, you should have mercy on your brothers and sisters, but you should also try to push to them and teach them how to follow the Most High, and they can't follow the Most High while worshiping another religion. Read on.
Verse 15. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed by one another.
You can drop that. Let me get I'll show you. Read verse 17.
Verse 17. Slide. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17.
16, actually. You can read on 16.
Verse 16. This I say then: walk in the Spirit.
Walk in the Spirit, read on.
And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Walk in the Spirit. What does it mean to walk in the Spirit in this instance?
Walk in the Spirit meaning to obey the Lord.
To obey the Lord. And how does that differ from walking in the flesh?
Walking in the flesh.
Or the lust of the flesh. So read on, my bad. No, go ahead. Well, how does that differ from the lust of the flesh, or walking in the lust of the flesh? No, you can answer.
So walking in the flesh will be doing the things of the world.
Doing the things
that this society allows you to do.
Right.
Like smoking and going to strip clubs or
disobeying the Lord. So the walk in the Spirit is to obey the Most High, and to walk in the flesh to fulfill your lust is to disobey the Most High. Read verse 16 again.
This I say then: walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Once again, your spirit wants you to walk right into that Christian church. Your flesh want you to walk right to that Christian church because your flesh wants to be happy. Your flesh wants to feel good. Your flesh wants to fulfill itself, to be full instead of hungry, to have sex instead of not having sex. Your flesh wants to feel good. It's a natural inclination as a human being, as a living thing. But through this Bible, through these laws, we have to be something more than just an animal, something more than just a human, something more than something that wants to just have sex and have fun and party and eat and drink. We got to do something. We have to deny ourselves lust in order to be something more than, like I said, than an animal. Read on.
Verse 17. For the flesh lusts against the spirit.
For your flesh lusts against the spirit, and meaning your flesh makes you not want to follow the Most High, not follow God. Read on.
And the spirit against the flesh.
Read on.
And these are contrary the one to the other.
And these two things are contrary to one another. In the world, people often tie their lust into the spirit, or they tie their lust into following God, and they think that if something makes them feel good, it must be of God, and that philosophy and that way of thinking is what destroys everyone across the planet. It sure has destroyed Black people for generations in the Christian church, because you believe that something makes you feel good, that God must want you to have it. That if it makes you feel good, then God must be okay with it. And that's the philosophy that's in the Christian church, that comes out of the Christian church and permeates in our music, our media, the books we read, the teachers that teach your children. Promote a message of you to do whatever makes you happy. That as long as you have love in your heart, and that you do what makes you happy, God is on your side. It's a lot more harder than that. It's a lot more harder than that, and to follow the Most High. The lust and the spirit are two different things. Your flesh and the spirit are two different things. Just because something makes you feel good, or just because you want to do something, just because something makes you happy, doesn't mean it's what you need to do. Doesn't mean that the Most High wants you to do. Read on.
So that ye cannot do the things that ye would.
So you cannot do the things that you would. I mean, you go after the flesh, so you don't do the things that you should do. You go after that. You go after that Easter basket and that Thanksgiving dinner, and you go after that weed and those drugs and those whores. So you don't do the thing that you should do, which is lay down with a woman, lay down with a righteous woman, a virtuous woman, and never leave her. Stay with her for the rest of your life. That's what you should do. What you should do is come into the Isupk and learn your true culture and learn how to really follow God. That's what you should do. But those things aren't always as fulfilling. Right. Those things don't always fulfill the flesh. You might not want to stay with a woman that you argue with every day. You might not want to stay with a woman that get on your nerves and they want you to pay for everything. I want you to be there to fix all the problems. You might not want to take up that burden of having to be over top another human being, to have to support another person. You might not want to listen to somebody that tells you you got to fix yourself, that you got to improve, and that you got to talk this way and walk this way, that you got to eat this and not eat that, that you got to sit here and not sit there. You might want to go to the church where you can do what you feel like doing. You can sing and dance, you give the pastor a few dollars, and then feel good about yourself. All these things, constantly, your flesh is fighting against the spirit, and your flesh is trying to get you to do the things that you should not do instead of doing the things that you should do. Read on.
Verse 18. But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law.
But if you be led by the spirit, you are not under the law. A Christian will read this scripture and think that this means that if you led by the spirit, you can then disobey God, which it makes absolutely no sense, because they don't understand what the law means. Right? The law is just like the common slang term many brothers use today. When the police is coming, when the police officer is coming, they say the law is coming. The law is coming because the law is the authority that enforces the law. Right. The law that enforces the exact codes and regulations on the street. Right. The law is the person that comes to you and punishes you for disobeying the law. So if you're led by the Spirit, that means you're not under the law. That means you obey the Most High, but not because somebody is coming and killing you. Not because somebody is over top you and destroying you, but you're led by the Spirit, meaning you're doing this because the Most High you are following the Most High. The Most High has put the Spirit on you to obey the Most High, to obey Him. The Most High has put the Spirit on you to follow Him, not because somebody is coming to destroy you and kill you, not because you're under a threat of punishment. That's not why you're following God, but you're doing it because of the Spirit. Read verse 18 again.
But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law.
You're not under the law. If you're led by the Spirit, you don't have to worry about the judgment the Most High is coming down. Judgment, the Most High judgment coming down on you. Just like somebody who's a law-abiding citizen in America. If you follow the laws, if you got a license or if you got the registration, if you're not getting high, if you're not robbing nobody, stealing, if you're not hurting anybody or harming anybody, you ain't got to worry about the law coming to get you. You ain't got to worry about the police coming to get you. That's what it's like to be led by the Spirit. Because if you're led by the Spirit, you don't have to worry about judgment coming. You don't have to worry about punishment coming. But if you're led by the flesh, if you're led by your lust, you just do whatever makes you happy, do whatever makes you feel good, then the law is coming. Then judgment is coming from the Most High. Read on.
Verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness. Verse 20.
And these are all the things that are the works of the flesh. All the things that you do if you're led by the flesh. Read verse 19 again from the top.
Now the works of the flesh are manifest.
Are manifested. How does the works of the flesh manifest? How do they materialize? What does the work of the flesh look like? Read on.
Which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness.
Lascivious. Let's look at that word of lasciviousness. Let's look at that word up. But once again, to the point. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, meaning all the things that you do to disobey the Most High. That is the works of the flesh. That is what that means. Simply, like the brother was saying before, simply disobeying God. That is the work of the flesh. You go after your flesh, you go after your lust by disobeying God. Doing all those things that you may love to do that is against the Most High. Having sex with whores, getting high. You got it?
Come.
Read that.
It's lascivious of a person, manner, or gesture, feeling or revealing an overt and often offensive sexual desire.
So lascivious. So being a sexual deviant, homosexuality, having sex with another man's wife, bestiality, all these things that are against the Most High that are promoted in America and you are taught to love in America. Read on.
Verse 20.
Idolatry. Worshiping idols. What's a famous idol that we all know and understand is the Christian cross. Christians wear that cross and they wear a thing that is going to protect them. They go into the church and they kiss the cross. They pray to statues of a white Jesus. Those are idols. Those are things that aren't real, meaning they have no power, no authority to do anything. They can't help you, but you pray to them and you keep them thinking that they will pray you. Those idols are your God. Read on.
Witchcraft, hatred, riots, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresy. Verse 21. Envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past.
You can drop that. You can drop that. Let's get I believe it's James. Get James chapter 3. Okay. James chapter 3. We're gonna get back into the brotherhood topic. James chapter 3. We'll give you a few brotherhood scriptures specifically on brotherhood. We're gonna get James chapter 3, verse 5. Once again, this is the brotherhood class. So this is about how we should interact with each other as a people. How should we interact with each other as a people? How do we love one another? How do we move in a way, or how do we respond in a way to things that doesn't cause us to further kill and destroy each other? Because today in the Black community, we suffer from a lack of brotherhood. We don't know how to talk to each other, how to deal with each other. All we know how to do is destroy each other, how to fight. That is not how we know how to do. But there are very few people that know how to forgive, to love, or even know what it means to love according to the Most High. So let's get James 3 and 5.
Okay. Look at James chapter 3, verse 5. Even so, the tongue is a little member.
Even so, the tongue is a little member, meaning the tongue in your mouth is just a little member, a very small body part. But you need your tongue to talk. You can cut somebody's tongue out, they won't be able to talk anymore. It'll be mumbling. So the tongue is a very small member. It's the thing you need to talk. You need to communicate, but it's very small. It's not big. It's not like your heart. It's not like your biceps and your triceps. It's not like your back. It's a very small member, very small body part. Read on.
And boasts great things.
But the tongue boasts great things. You can talk a great game. You can say amazing things with your tongue. Read on.
Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindles.
Behold, how great a matter, a little fire kindles. Meaning, with your tongue, even though it be a small member, it can boast great things. It can say great things, and it can kindle a fire. A little fire starts small. It starts with your small little tongue, with just your mouth saying something, and a fire kindles. Read on.
Verse 6. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity.
The tongue is a fire. The tongue, well, what does a fire do? A fire consumes everything around it. It may start off small, it may start off simple, but with a small fire, you can burn down half of California with just a small fire. And the tongue is the same way. Read verse 6 from the top.
And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity.
A world of iniquity, a world of disobeying the Most High, a world of evil. Read on.
So is the tongue among our members.
So is the tongue among our members. The tongue, the things you say, the words that come out of your mouth can create absolute fire, absolute wickedness, and absolute destruction around you. Read on.
That it defiles the whole body.
It can defile the whole body. Once again, it's a small member, but the things you say can destroy you. The things that come out of your mouth can destroy you, destroy the people that you say it to. Read on.
And set on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire with hell. And
set on fire the course of nature. I mean, everything around it. I mean, like I said, a small little fire can start a forest fire and burn down half of California. Burn down trees and animals and habitats and ecosystems. A small flame, a campfire, can do that. Your tongue is the same way. Even though it's a small member, even though the words you speak may seem small, the things you say matter, because the things you say can destroy you, can destroy the people around you. The things you teach, the things you promote can destroy the people around you. And the lesson is to always watch what you say. Always watch your mouth. You should especially do it on a smaller level. You should especially do it with your brothers, with your sisters. Because think about how many relationships have been ruined over something somebody said.
Right.
Not over going to blows, not over fighting, not over somebody stealing something, not over any physical violence, but simply think about how many relationships have been ruined over somebody not knowing how to watch their mouth. Think about how many people you offend, how many people that you may drive to hate you over the things that you said. You can't be a good brother, you can't be a good sister if you don't know how to watch your mouth. Right. If you don't know how to control your mouth, because with your mouth can create a giant fire. Even though it may seem small, it may seem insignificant, with that small and insignificant tongue, you can destroy your relationship. You can destroy your family. You can destroy the brotherhood that you may have, destroy the sisterhood, the love that you may have with another person. So once again, the overall message is to watch your mouth because your mouth, your tongue is an extremely powerful thing, even though it may be small. Just 1 second. Give me verse 10. Driving to verse 10.
The book of James, chapter 3, verse 10. Out of the same mouth proceeded blessing and curses.
Out of the same mouth, somebody can give blessings and curses. Read on.
My brother, these things ought not so to be.
Out of the same mouth, you can say wickedness and righteousness. But the scriptures is saying that it shouldn't be this way. Meaning you shouldn't be a hypocrite, so to speak. You shouldn't speak righteousness and wickedness. You should speak righteousness. You should speak one thing. You shouldn't be a hypocrite. Read verse 10 from the top one more time.
Out of the same mouth proceeded blessing and cursing. My brother, these things ought not so to be.
You can't claim to be a black activist or promote promote black people and try to end racial injustice and at the same time promote homosexuality. You can't promote God and at the same time promote people to disobey the law and go against God. You got to pick a side. Read on.
Verse 11. Though the fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter.
There's a fountain or a river or a waterfall. When you go to that fountain, does the water give out bad water and good water? No, that doesn't make any sense, right? Read on.
Verse 12. Can the fig tree, my brother, bear olive berries? Either a vine, figs.
Can a fig tree, give away multiple different types of fruits? Can a fig also give out olives? Can a fig tree also have an olive branch? Can a fig tree also give you olives? No, that doesn't make any sense. Read on.
So can no fountain both give salt water and fresh?
You can't have a fountain that got salt water and fresh water. It's going to be either or. Read on.
Verse 13. Who is a wise man and endured his life?
Endued.
Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you?
Who is the wise man that has knowledge? Who are the people that have knowledge? What should they do? Read on.
Let him shoot out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom.
Let him have good conversation. Let him promote the Most High. Let him say things that will give life to his people. Read on.
Right. Verse 14. But if ye have bitter envy and strife in your hearts.
If you have bitter envy and strife in your hearts. If you want to have strife, if you want to fight and contend with your brother, if you want to have bitter envy meaning you want what your brother has. You want to possess what your brother has. Read on.
Glory not and lie not against the truth.
Don't glory in those problems. Don't glory in having a bitter envy. Meaning an absolute severe case of envy, a severe case of wanting what your brother has, wanting what your sister has. Envy, like the general was bringing out last night, envy is something that is a root to much sin. Envy is that want for something that somebody else has. Envy is what you have right before you have sex with another man's wife. Mm-hmm. Envy is what you have right before you steal. Envy is what you have right before you sabotage somebody because they have something that you want, or they have a position that you want to obtain. Envy is the beginning of much sin. Envy is the beginning of you destroying your brother for your own personal gain, destroying your sister for your own personal gain. Read on.
Verse 15. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish.
Meaning this knowledge, meaning the knowledge of being envious, the knowledge of having strife and contention with your brother doesn't come from the Most High, but it's earthly, it's base, it's low, it's what animals do. You don't have to learn about God to learn how to be envious. You don't have to go to God to learn how to fight somebody and be against your brother. You just gotta be natural. You gotta be to do what you naturally would do, which is hate one another. Read on.
Verse 16. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work.
For where envy is and strife, there is confusion in every evil work. Read that verse again.
Verse 16. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work.
So where there's envy and strife, there's confusion in every evil work. And that's what you see in the black community. You see people that hate one another, fight against each other, you see absolute confusion, absolute dysfunction in black households all across America. In black communities all across America, absolute confusion and all the evil under the sun, because we are a people who hate one another, who fight against each other. Read on.
Verse 17. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality, and without hypocrisy.
Full of mercy, good fruits, without partiality, and without hypocrisy. Full of mercy. And that is another key element that we are missing in the black community. We have forgotten how to be merciful to one another. Meaning, learn how to forgive, learn how to let some things go, learn how to resolve things and move past it. Learn how to hear, I'm sorry, and let that be enough. Sometimes let an apology be enough. Let somebody changing their ways be enough for you, instead of being somebody that can never let go of things, never forgive, no matter what a person does for you, no matter how they try to reconcile. You always want them to die for the thing they did to you, for the thing that they said to you, for their offense against you. Learn how to have some mercy. If somebody's willing to change, especially if somebody's willing to apologize, is willing to change, was willing to repay you for whatever they did wrong, forgive that person. Have mercy on them. Let's get Matthew 18. We're gonna end it on that.
Come.
So Matthew, Matthew 18 and 15.
Come. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15.
This scripture right here is a bedrock scripture in the Isupk. It is essential to our brotherhood and how we have survived for so long in this captivity. This one scripture right here, this one thing that was laid down by Christ. This scripture here we have been able to survive and have been able to learn to forgive one another and get past certain issues that would kill most organizations and have killed most organizations, have destroyed most people. Small things that people cannot get past because it is very hard to forgive a person. It's very easy to hate your brother. It's very easy. It's the natural thing to do. But the thing that's not natural is to try to come to a resolution. It's easy to just be enemies after somebody offends you, after somebody does something wrong to you. That's very simple. You ain't got to talk about it. You ain't got to say nothing. You ain't got to try to change the way you think or anything. You just got to do what you naturally would do, and that is hate the people around you. Read verse 15. We're going to show you how to not just do the natural thing to do, but do the thing that will save you and save your brotherhood, save your sisterhood in the end.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone.
Read from the top one more time.
Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone.
If your brother trespass against you, what does it mean for your brother to trespass against you? It can be many things. It can be something like I was saying before. It can be something the brother said to you that you didn't like. It can be as simple as a joke. It can be as simple as a joke that offended you. It can be, some money your brother didn't give you back. And once again, these things go for brothers and sisters. It can be a joke somebody said. It can be some money that they didn't give you. It can be something it can be a very simple thing, or maybe a very big thing that they did against you that you feel that you feel is a trespass. You know what I mean? And they wronged you. They did you wrong by something they physically did, or even by something they just said. Read from the top again.
Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone.
If your brother trespass against you, if he offends you, go tell him what he did between him and him alone. Don't gossip about it. Somebody offends you, you believe somebody wronged you, don't gossip about it. Don't go telling your husband or your wife about it. Don't go telling another brother or another sister about it. Don't go there, but you keep that with yourself until you tell that brother or that sister what he did to you. You tell him. Why is it important to only tell him and him alone? Or anybody else in the class that might know. Why is it important that if you have an issue with somebody, why is it important that you go to them first before anybody else? Brother in the back.
You don't know what the issue about. It could be a he say, she say.
I'm saying that you personally have an issue with somebody else. You got an issue with somebody else, and the scriptures say to go to them first, him and him alone. Why is it important to first go to him and him alone and only him? The person that offended you.
So avoid strife and you hating your brother.
You hating your brother. So how would you hate your brother? By going to somebody else first.
That's showing that you love your brother.
By going to them first.
Right.
But how would going to somebody else create heat?
Oh, because now you like to tell girl when you just cause drama.
Now you cause drama. Now you are telling other people about how you were wronged, and those other people will begin to believe that person that wronged you is evil. But instead of giving the person that wronged you an opportunity to gain your forgiveness, in order for them to give them a chance to apologize and make things right, you go and tell somebody else. Now those people that you told, instead of told them that person that offends you, they think that person is evil because you began to gossip. You began to gossip and talk about the situation to other outside parties instead of first addressing it with the person that offended you. And when you do that, you are sowing hatred with the people around you. You are making them hate that brother. You are causing confusion because you are not strong enough, disciplined enough to first go to that person and try to hash it out with them. To try to find a way to forgive them instead of, like I said before, just hating. Because once again, it may be hard to go to somebody that offends you. And in some cases, it's hard to go to somebody and admit that you were hurt by what they said. It takes a lot. You gotta let go of a lot of pride, most people, in order to go to somebody and say, "You wronged me. I didn't like when you said that. I didn't like when you did that. I didn't like that joke you did." That takes a lot of. You gotta give up a lot of pride to do that. Most people have way too much pride to just naturally do that. So it's way easier to just go to one of your friends, go to your husband, go to your wife, and tell them, "Yeah, so and so, he real disrespectful. He need to watch his mouth. Yeah, he need to watch who he's talking to." Instead of going to the brother and telling him that maybe that you were offended by what he said. Read on.
If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother.
If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. If he hears you, what does it mean to hear you? Meaning, the brother said something that you were offended by. You go to that brother and you tell him that you were offended. Him hearing you is saying, "You were right. I should not have said that. Salaki, I apologize. I won't say it again." That's him hearing you. Him hearing you is not, I'm going to say whatever I feel like saying to you. Him hearing you is not, "Yeah, I said that, but you was offended because you soft, and that's why you was offended. That wasn't really that big of a deal." That's not him hearing you. Him hearing you is him agreeing that he was wrong. Him agreeing that what he did was wrong and he should change, and he's going to apologize and try not to do it again. That's him hearing you, nothing but that. Nothing else is him hearing you. Him hearing you is only one thing. Him fully agreeing that he wronged you, that he or she wronged you. Read that last part of the verse.
If he shall hear you, thou hast gained thy brother.
And if he hears you, if he agrees that that he wrongs you, he apologizes, you gain the brother. You and that brother is now going to have a stronger bond with one another because y'all were able to get over that situation. Y'all was able to push past that situation, talk it out, say how you felt about the situation, apologize to one another. You have gained your brother, and now you'll have a more stronger bond with that person because you were willing to tell them how you felt. But read on. But it always isn't that simple. A lot of times it is that simple, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a little more to it. So read on.
Come. Verse 16. But if he will not hear you.
If you go to that person and they say, yeah, I can say whatever I feel like saying to you. Or, you was only offended by that because you saw it and you was real sensitive. That's why you was offended. If they don't hear you, read on.
Then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established.
Take 2 or 3 more. What do we do in ISUPK? We go to counsel. You go to counsel when you have an issue with a brother that you can't resolve between you and him. If he isn't hearing you or you ain't hearing him, y'all go to a council with 2 or 3 witnesses. Who are these 2 or 3 witnesses? These 2 or 3 witnesses are not, some brother that got his Hebrew name last week, or not even a young officer, not even a young captain most of the time. These are higher ranking captains and generals, brothers that are seasoned to deal with these type of situations. Brothers that are seasoned, that are experienced and know how to deal with these situations with brothers and sisters interacting with each other, and that have enough experience, enough knowledge of the scriptures to know who is right and who is wrong. Read that verse again.
Verse 16. But if he will not hear you, then take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established.
So you're gonna sit down with 2 or 3 witnesses. You're gonna have a council, and you're gonna say what happened. You're gonna tell the story about what happened, and when the witnesses hear about what happened, they'll be able to decide who was right and who was wrong. And you'll have the witnesses there, so you have multiple people to validate the story, validate what happened, and validate whether or not what happened was right or wrong, or who was right or wrong in the given instance. Read on.
Verse 17. And if he shall neglect to hear it, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church,
if you sit down in that council, y'all hash it out, and it comes out that somebody was wrong. Somebody was wrong for what they said, or somebody was wrong for what they got offended by. Somebody was not right in this given situation, and that the person that wasn't right, they might not want to hear that counsel either. They might not want to hear that, and if they don't want to hear it, read that verse from the top.
And if he shall neglect to hear it, tell it to the church.
Tell it to the church. Tell it to the entire school. We'll set up in a council with every officer in the school, everybody that holds rank in the school, every officer will sit down in the council, and we'll hear the issue. We'll all hear the issue. Everybody, like I said, every man that holds rank in the school will sit down. They will hear the issue, and they will evaluate whether or not you were right or whether or not you were wrong. Read on.
But if he neglect to hear the church,
but if he gets told once again that he was wrong, and you do not want to hear what the whole school has to say, read on.
Let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican.
As a heathen man and a publican. Meaning after that, you get thrown out the school. You get thrown out of the school because a person like that can't survive here. A person that can't take correction, can't admit that they were wrong, can't admit that everything they do isn't of the Most High. They gotta go because if you can't admit that you're wrong, you can never interact with anybody with any level of harmony or brotherhood or love. If you can't come to admit that you were wrong, that you shouldn't have said that, you shouldn't have done that. That person, you can't be a good brother to anybody, because every now and again you're gonna say something somebody doesn't like. Every now and again you're gonna make a mistake. You're gonna say something that you shouldn't have said, do something that you shouldn't have done, given an order that you shouldn't have gave. And if you can't admit that you were wrong, you gotta go. You gotta get up out of here. But this scripture, for most people, you gotta learn how to be the brother that takes the brother and goes to him and alone. You gotta. It's a little easier to not be the brother that for most people, it's easy to not be the brother that offends everybody. It's easy to be that guy. It's easy to be the guy that can, be told that he was wrong, get checked, and try to fix yourself. For a lot of people, most people in the school I encounter, they can do that. But can you be the brother that is offended? Can you be the sister that is offended, deeply offended by something somebody said, and choose to confront that person? Can you be the brother that your whole life has never talked out an issue ever? You never talked out nothing. Somebody was mad at you, you was fighting, or you wasn't dealing with them no more. You wasn't trying to, reconcile anything. You wasn't trying to, sit down and say, yeah, you offended me. I feel like maybe you should apologize. You never did nothing like that ever in your whole life. Your whole life was about, if you offend me, I'm either going to fight you or I'm going to hate you forever and never hang around you again. Most people, that's how they interact with each other. And most people, they don't, try to hash things out. They just throw people away once they offend. They don't try to rekindle the relationship. They don't try to move past it. A lot of people can't move past anything. This scripture is showing us as a people how to move past issues. You're giving us guidance on how to move past issues. The question is whether or not you're strong enough to want to move past it. Whether or not you're strong enough to want to move past the issue instead of holding on to it and harboring it, which is so much easier to do. It's so much easier. It goes along with your flesh. Your flesh wants to fight. Who want to talk it out? Who wants to do that? In the moment, at least. In the moment, who wants to talk it out when somebody says something you don't like? Who want to do that? You want to fight about it. You want to argue about it. You don't want to talk it out and try to forgive. Who want to do that? That's not the natural thing that you would do. The natural thing to do is just it's to fight, it's to argue, to be angry, to hold anger in. But the scripture here is telling you the healthy thing to do, the thing that will preserve your relationship. And if you believe that you can survive in the school and not hash out your issues, if you believe that you can survive in the school and not follow the scripture, not follow Matthew 18 and 15, you are fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. You think you can be in the school, be in the Isupk, and be offended at something and never talk about it and sweep it under the rug. 5 years from now, you won't be in the Isupk. You'll use all your offenses as a good reason to go back in the world and get high. You'll use all these offenses to go as a good reason as to why the Isupk ain't nothing. The truth ain't nothing. The Most High ain't nothing. God doesn't exist, and I'm gonna go to the strip club now because so and so said something I didn't like in 2012. So and so said something I didn't like 10 years ago. So now I can't never be here. When you could simply go to the brother, go to the sister, go to the person, no matter who they are. I don't care what their rank is, who they are. You can go to them and you can hash out your differences so through this scripture, through this gift that Christ gave us. This gift that Christ gave us, he showed you and gave you an avenue to fix your problems. Because people in the world, they don't have this. They don't have a way to hash it out. The only people they can look to is, the police, and what the police do. They can look to the police, the courts. And what do the courts do? The courts, give you $1,000 bill, and the police kill you and lock you up for the rest of your life. You can't trust in your oppressor to fix your issues, to fix your interpersonal issues with your community. You can't trust them to settle disputes. They are terrible at it because they have no mercy, no love. They only know how to fully crush people, but they don't know how to have any mercy. They don't know how to instill forgiveness in people. But they know how to punish you good, but they don't know how to get you to forgive anybody. They don't know how to forgive anybody. But Christ is giving you out. Christ is giving you a body. He's giving you a body outside of your oppressor, somebody outside of your oppressor that can heal you, and mend your relationships, save your brotherhood, save your relationships that you have with your brothers and sisters in this country and everybody around you. And the Black community will pick this up. If we would take heed to the words of the men of the Isupk, and we would look to them as somebody to settle our disputes, to go to instead of picking up a gun, to go to instead of picking up our fists, to go to instead of holding on to hate and strife for years and generations, we could escape so much death and destruction if we could only learn what Christ taught. Only learn what Christ taught. You can only learn this knowledge in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. You can only learn what Christ taught. You can only learn the blueprint that Christ gave us to have a secure and safe and loving nation through the ISUPK. And once again, you, like I said, you think that you're gonna go on, and you may think that you're gonna go on in the school, never talk about it, never talk about what somebody did or said to you, and everything is gonna be okay. You think you're gonna forgive it. You're gonna forget about it. You're gonna be forgiven, and that's it. Once again, like I said, you are fooling yourself. Well, you are fooling yourself. In the Black community, we all understand that we need to learn how to forgive each other. I don't care what you believe in, who you are. Generally, people believe that in the Black community, we need to learn how to love each other more and learn how to forgive one another. Everybody knows that. Well, what few people understand, however, is that love needs to be enforced. Mercy needs to be enforced. Brotherhood needs to be enforced. You don't have mercy and love just by being a sweet person, just being a kind person. It's something that needs to be enforced. You need to have a place where you can't be here if you ain't willing to love. You can't be here if you ain't willing to forgive. You can't be here unless you're willing to settle the problem that you have with a brother. You can't be in this school unless you're willing to settle the problem that you have with a sister. Mercy, love, brotherhood has to be enforced with rules and regulations, just like anything else. And if you don't enforce those rules, you will just fall into hatred because you have to enforce love. And if not, you fall into hatred. It's not as simple as just saying love one another. But it's more structured. It's structured as going into this Bible, read Matthew 18 and 15, and learning what you exactly have to do if you're offended in order to mend your relationships. But without it, you just fall back into hatred. And with that, I'm gonna pass it over to preaching officer. You die.
Captain Ariana, another strong hand. That being said, with the ISUPK, we are 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command during the honor. Room for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister come to the school, they're offered this for 6 months. You're to be saluted only. You're to shed yourself to the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will begin to court each other. After that 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe is the commandment. You can read about that in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Ma'asherah means 10th in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department. Priest fund, free will offer for the priest, which is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give, the upcoming holy convocation will be the Passover, which we will have on April 24th in Houston, Texas, at the VA's ranch. Make sure, you know what I mean, you get in contact with your camp leader. You know what I mean, for more information about the Passover. It's $200 for anyone that's 17 and over. Also, make sure you check the bulletin board in the hallway back there. You know what I mean, for other events and stuff we may have. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, you gotta start wearing all black boots, shirt, headband, and scarf. With that, I module is to stand. Men of Israel, we're gonna give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Admaj, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Barak. Sergeant and sisters, men of Israel, we're going to give the sisters one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Admaj, Barak, Yahweh Shamar, Al-Flah, Ba'ashim Yahushua. Y'all can tie these hands down, clap dismiss. Sorry, I was late. I was late.
It's no sweat,